Welcome back to the JDW Sports Talk Show, where every fan is welcome. And in today's episode, we're going to be discussing whether or not I think that Michael Pittman Jr. can and is ready to be the number one wide receiver in Indianapolis. Now, real quick before I get into it, if you have any thoughts, put your thoughts down in the comment section. And if you do enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. But let's get right into the topic. So, do I think that Michael Pittman Jr. can be the number one wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts in 2021? Now, if you ask me, with the number 34th pick out of USC, I think the USC product can be a really good receiver heading into this year. And I think he is very capable of being that number one overall, or that number one wide receiver. Michael Pittman has a lot of the traits, has a lot of, of what you want in a number one guy. He's got height. He doesn't have blazing speed, but he has the height. He has really strong hands. He could run. He's not as slow as you think. He is pretty fast. He's a really good route runner, really good run blocker. He does everything extremely well. And he did all this extremely well in his rookie year. In the year, he had no offseason to prepare. No previous, connections with Phillip Rivers. No offseason to get with Phillip Rivers, and really no true offseason to get a true relationship with Phillip Rivers. I really think that Michael Pittman Jr. is ready to take that step to be the number one guy. Now you may be asking right now, isn't TYHilton that guy? He was. I love TY. But he's definitely coming to the end of his career. It sucks. Yeah, one of my favorite players, but Michael Pittman Jr., it's time for TY to pass the torch, and I think he's going to pass the torch to Pittman, and I think Pittman is going to be an amazing receiver for the Colts for many, many years to come. Pittman is a big body receiver, as we know. He could go up and make those big contested catches. Those are just some of the amazing traits that you want from your number one guy. He's also a great leader. He has great character. He's great off the field, and he's great on the field. And just a great character in general, and nothing more that you can really ask for. He has character and he has talent, which is very, very difficult to come by in the NFL. Michael Pittman Jr. is going to come in here and he's going to make a difference. Last year he did have the calf injury, and that's one of the huge painful injuries that you can have in the NFL. Not really huge, but any injury is huge. From an ankle sprain, all the way up to Achilles tear. Yeah, some are more painful, some are much more difficult to rehab and come back from. But an injury is an injury, and an injury can impact your game. And Pittman coming back from that calf, he came back strong. And, he had a really good season for a rookie in a year where there's so much uncertainty. He had no chance to, build a connection with his quarterback before the season. He had no chance whatsoever. And if you don't have, they had training camp and such, but not much at all. They barely had any time to really develop a real connection on the football field. It wasn't until later in the season when, Pittman and Rivers really started to, really catch fire. And, I'm excited to see Pittman come in and, make a big difference. And if you see, Pittman coming from USC, he's a really solid guy, really solid. And, one of the biggest points that I want to point out in this Michael Pittman Jr. is that if you look at our three biggest games, our three biggest games was versus the Titans on Thursday Night Football, versus the Green Bay Packers where it was nationally televised, and then you have the Buffalo Bills game, another nationally televised game, and a huge game and a playoff game, huge game. And all three of those games were Michael Pittman's three best games. Versus the Titans, he really, kind of had that breakout game. He had a really good game. And made some big catches, he had a big run, he had a really good game. And then you go to the Packers game where he scores his first touchdown. He scored his first touchdown versus the Packers. First, I think it was like a 40-some yard touchdown at that. Pittman is a really good receiver, and shines the brightest in the brightest of moments on the bigger the stage, the brighter he's going to shine. And that's what you want to see from a young player, And then you go to the Buffalo game, you were really able to tell that Pittman really took over. He really showed that he can be that number one guy. He made some huge third down catches, made some huge fourth down catches, and he made some big catches on first and second as well. He did drop that one ball in the playoff game, but that was kind of on both of them. That was really difficult. Philip Rivers kind of overthrew him a little bit, and Pitt did drop a little bit, but that was a really hard catch for him to make. And, Rivers overthrew him a little bit, but nonetheless, Pittman really, he made a huge difference in that game. Because Buffalo really had to key on him a little bit and watch him a little bit because he was really making a big difference, and I'm excited to see what this receiver group has in store. And leading the way is Michael Pittman Jr. As Reggie Wayne passed the torch to Ty. Ty is now doing the same for Michael Pittman Jr. And maybe even Paris Campbell as well. So really excited to see this receiving core get to work. I'm really excited to see Michael Pittman get to work and have an amazing season for the Colts. So let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think Michael Pittman is ready to be the number one guy? I absolutely think so. Let me know what you guys think. And I thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, I'll catch you next time.